Hey, it's your boy Gavin, back with another video. In this video, I want to explain the dangers of trying to get in N95 masks. And there's a couple of reasons. So the first reason I want to talk about is when you get trying to get an N95 mask in, you know, you're trying to chase the demand, and you should never try to, especially in a pandemic, never chase a pandemic, all right? Because anything can happen, especially when, you know, if they get over the pandemic, or if there's a vaccine, or they find a cure, or something happens miraculously, because, you know, this happens from day to day. You don't know what's going to happen, and to get the inventory from China, it takes, you know, a long time. If you're not flying them in, I mean, it's very hard to fly them in anyway because the price of air freight is so high. But let's just say you got, you know, a whole bunch of them through sea freight, and by the time that ship arrives here in, you know, in, say, for example, Australia, it takes time to process, and, you know, it could be 40 to 50 days before you actually get your stock. And that's a long time. It's a big gamble to wait, because anything can happen in that meantime, right? They could find a cure. All of a sudden, no one needs N95 masks because there's a cure or vaccine, and then everyone is stuck in the same boat with stock they're not going to be able to sell. All right, so these N95 masks, the certified ones are a little bit more, but before the masks, these, you know, the ones that you see, the 3-ply masks with the string that goes around your mouth, those things, you could normally buy them without a pandemic for about 1 to 2 cents each. That's what they really were selling for. You could buy 100 pack for, you know, $1 or more. That's what these masks were selling for. But then now in the pandemic, we saw them on eBay for $40 to $50, $100. So obviously there was a high demand. People wanted to sell them. They just price gouged because of the lack of supply. And then the government was saying, don't buy the medical masks, because the people in the medical, the doctors and the nurses, they need them. There's not enough. So you could be stuck with all this stock, and it's a big gamble. The other thing too is, you know, you could be accused of price gouging. A lot of these online platforms weren't allowing you to sell N95 masks. I know Amazon and eBay, and then there was other platforms like Shopify. Shopify banned the use of selling N95 masks. And so there's every sort of platform had restrictions, or they knew that people were selling these at inflated prices to make money, and they were doing their best. I think Facebook ads you weren't allowed to use Facebook ads to sell N95 masks. So that's a huge risk in itself. People on Amazon were bringing these things in from China. They had no clue, you know, if they were actually real masks, certified masks, and they were selling them on Amazon. All right. So Amazon took action, price gouging and all that sort of stuff. So it's a huge risk bringing this inventory over just to try to make a quick buck. And a lot of newbies, when they see this opportunity, they don't think it through. And this is a classic newbie mistake. They don't think it through, because they've never, you know, they just got into Amazon. They're thinking, oh, I can make all this money, you know, the get rich quick mentality. Then they go and source masks, which brings me into my next point. When you get masks, especially it's classed as a medical grade equipment. So there's need to be certification, and, you know, even if it's a N95 mask, that needs certification. It needs some sort of, it's regulated, right? It's regulated in America, it's regulated in Australia, so it comes with certain certification. However, because of the exploding demand of N95 masks, I was getting a lot of emails from existing suppliers, and all of a sudden they were selling N95 masks, the 3-ply one with the string, okay? That seems to be the most popular one. But the problem was, these companies and these factories just started producing them. They didn't have the certification. I even saw some instances that they were faking these certificates, and they were just forging them and then just sell and make a profit. And this happens in China because they don't really care. They just want to sell, they want to make money, and to them they're producing a product. But in the West, it's different. All right, it's different. There needs to be certain there's certain certifications on, especially medical equipment, for a reason. All right, so then it's actually certified to be used in a medical environment. And so we get a lot of newbies coming along. They start selling this stuff. They're going to make all this money. Then they discover, or it's seized, either at the port or by or they've been stopped. They're allowed. Amazon has stopped them from selling, or eBay. Something happens where some sort of governing body has told them that you can't sell these things anymore because you're claiming that they're FDA approved or they have this certification, and they're actually not. So it's actually fraudulent. What you're doing is fraudulent. So this is where the issue comes in. All right, when you're selling any type of medical grade sort of equipment, it has a certification, and a lot of the newbies they don't understand this. So if it doesn't get picked up at the port, then it may be picked up somewhere along the line, and you're stating something which is not real. And just by saying that, hey, the supplier in China told me it was medical grade, so I'm just selling it as medical grade. I didn't know. That's not an excuse. It's not acceptable, because you're bringing a product into Australia, and you're saying it's classed as medical grade, and it's not. And that is a danger to the health of other people, and you can get in a lot of trouble. So this is what I would say to people: don't chase the medical stuff, especially medical. This is so dangerous. If you're importing stuff into Australia law says that whatever you import into, even though it's from China, you are liable for, you basically become responsible for, you become the importer, right? You're responsible. So if anything happens to these people, they get sick, they're wearing what they thought as medical grade N95 masks that you sold them, and they get sick, they can prove that that sickness came through the medical equipment that you sold them, you're going to be liable. All right, not the factory in China. You're going to be liable. That's how the law works in Australia. So why would you even bother risking it? Why would you take all those risks just to make a quick buck of getting the inventory in, investing all that money? You never know what can happen in 40 to 50 days. Then you got the liability of the actual product. Chinese companies are going to say anything. If they're not a proper certified company that has certification to sell this medical stuff, then don't buy from them. They're just going to sell you anything to make a buck. I got an email and it was like CNXYZ from sextoys.com. That was their factory. That was an email. And they were trying to sell me medical grade masks. And I was like, and I looked, and I don't think they know, because I don't understand. Like, would you buy N95 masks from a supplier that has a return email of sextoys.cn.com or something? It's obvious they're just trying to sell you something and don't have the medical grade certification, but they'll tell you anything just to sell the mask. So as a newbie, you need to be very, very careful. If you're going to go down that route, which I highly recommend you do not go, you're putting yourself up to big risks, litigation, and honestly, it's a rookie move. Don't do it. So that's kind of like what I wanted to touch on today. There's a lot of information now coming out and articles in the news and in the media of this happening. Counterfeit Chinese-made face masks pulled offline after global news probe. And this is by Global News Canada. Chinese-made N95 respiratory masks were advertised online as having been certified by US safety regulators. An important claim amid the global coronavirus pandemic as frontline workers scramble for life-saving protective equipment. But the masks were fake, and the following investigation by Global News and counterfeiters were pulled last week from websites in India, Pakistan, and half a dozen around the countries. Okay, so this is CNN Business. The urgent, overwhelming demand of N95 masks has created fertile ground for scammers to start leaking counterfeits into the supply chain and make fake deals for product that doesn't exist. Two leading N95 mask manufacturers have issued fraud warnings amid the coronavirus pandemic, saying they've received complaints about fraudsters trying to sell non-existent equipment. And Gizmodo reports N95 mask listings on Amazon are flooded with fake reviews. While Amazon was banned more than 1 million fraudulent products claiming to cure or protect customers from coronavirus, Gizmodo found that third-party sellers continue to use fake reviews, bot farms, other deceptive methods to sell suspicious N95 masks to the panic public. So they're just some examples of fraudulent, fake, and not certified masks being sold. All right, guys. So it's a newbie mistake. Don't fall for this. Don't engage in this activity. And any type of medical equipment, personally, if I'm going to sell it on Amazon, I wouldn't sell it on Amazon. Okay, I would not sell it. It's a high risk, and there's litigation. If you will go down that route, it's very simple. All you do is you contact the governing body in the country, and you ask them. They'll have a list of the company, the factories in China that have that certification, and then you can actually either go through that list and actually source the supplier if you want to get medical grade masks from them, or you can just try to find some suppliers in China, and if they are on that list of, say, FDA approval masks, if you're in the States, then you can match up their supplier, their company information with the FDA information, and if it's on that list, then you know that they're verified as to be certified that this medical grade equipment is actually certified. But if they're not on this list, on the FDA list, then they're just fake. They're just a fake company, and you're going to get in trouble if you buy from them. All right. So thanks for watching. I hope it just gives you insight. Don't fall for this trap. If you have any questions or concerns, or just anything in general in regards to importation or certifications or anything like that, leave a comment below, and I'll when I see it, I'll answer it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. I'll see you in the next video.